Okay, so there is the bike chain and engine to jackshaft chain all hooked up and functioning properly. Okay, so I'm putting the rear wheel in now, and one of the things that you do have to run is a axle puller or axle tensioner. This is a BMX axle tensioner. It's a 14 millimeter axle. So you do have to run one of these on the, at least on the chain side. You don't have to have one on both sides, but you got to have one of these on the chain side, or else it'll rip the axle forward on you. Then I've bolted the sprocket to the hub. These guys are 6 millimeter flathead Allen bolts, and you should Loctite those guys in because those things come loose really easily. And on this side over here, I've got my disc brake caliper mounted, and I've got my disc rotor on the hub. And so now I am ready to put my chain on and brake it to the correct length. Alright, so there is the rear wheel and rear chain all done, and it pedals and everything functions correctly. So next we will put on the carburetor. Okay, so here we have the carburetor and manifold and the gaskets that go with it. Here we have a paper gasket, and that goes in between the manifold and the head of the engine. And over here we have a plastic gasket that has an O-ring in it, and it just has an O-ring on one side. So the O-ring goes against the manifold, and then it gets sandwiched in between the carburetor and manifold. The carburetor has an O-ring already in it, so it just gets sandwiched in between there like that. And then the manifold then just bolts right on up here to the head like so. Alright, so there's the carburetor and manifold all bolted on. Got the air filter on there too. And I ran the throttle cable up here and got that all hooked up on the handlebars, and also got the kill switch routed up there too and on the handlebars. So everything's pretty much there. It's about ready to get the tank and plastics put on. Alright, so now we're going to put the tank on, and it just bolts on here and here on these two mounts there. And so we'll just set that guy on there like so. And you want to use pretty good sized washers because of these, they squeeze down on these rubber grommets here. So and there, the tank's on. Alright, so now we're ready to start screwing all the plastics and the seat together. And the plastics, the radiator shrouds and the rear fender here, both have to screw on to the bottom of the seat, and you can't get to the bolts once the seat is on, so you have to screw it all together before and slide the whole thing on as a unit. And the seat, they don't have threads in the plastic. You just use, there's just a hole in the plastic here, and you just use, like I use a number 10 wood screw, gets a good bite in the plastic, and just screw all the plastics down before you put the seat on. Okay, so now we've got our seat, our radiator shrouds, and our rear fender all screwed together. So we're just going to take this guy here and slide it on. And you'll see on the bottom of the seat here, there are two tabs. one on each side, and these tabs go inside these little hoops here on the subframe and just kind of lock the seat down like so. And then there is just 2 bolts in the rear that go in, and that's pretty much what holds the seat on. And then there is one more screw that needs to be put in that holds the radiator shroud down to the tank there. Alright, so now we're going to install the exhaust system, and the exhaust system is just a muffler and the exhaust pipe here. And you've got an exhaust gasket that goes up inside the head before you put the pipe in. And then the 2 studs in the head just go through these 2 holes in the flange, and just tighten those down, and that's it. Alright, so there is the exhaust flange bolted on and the exhaust pipe on there. And so now we'll go back here and put on the muffler, and the muffler just slides on the exhaust pipe like so, and then just gets a bolt in there, and that's it. Okay, and lastly, on some of these Chinese and Lifan motors, the side covers need to be trimmed because they have these extended chain guards on the side cover, which hits on the chain roller right there. So you need to trim this right here, just on the other side of this last mounting bolt. You don't want to cut off that last mounting bolt though. You want to trim that guy right there, just like this, something like that. And so as you can see, this guy clears, and it's not going to hit the chain tension roller. And so that's it. It's all done, ready to ride.